Hello, a very good evening. You are watching Beyond the Boundary on TY Sports YouTube channel. India have taken an unassailable 2-0 lead in the ongoing 3 ODI series versus England. But even after Rohit Sharma coming back amongst the runs, scoring those big hits like he was never out of form, there are still a lot of burning questions left to be answered. We are just little over 24 hours away before the ICC deadline to submit squads ends, and we'll be discussing that and a lot more in this episode of Beyond the Boundary. So first, let me welcome all our panelists, starting with Chandresh Narayanan, Gaurav Gupta, and Nitin Nayak. Welcome, gents. A very good evening to all of you.
Hi, good evening.
Thanks a lot.
Hi, Sai.
Thanks a lot for
Good
having
evening.
us.
So let's I think jump to the hottest question. 11 Tariq Dubai time midnight is when the ICC deadline ends. So let's quickly have the graphic of the Jasprit Bumrah story and see where things stand as far as India's ace seamer is concerned. So just a quick reminder to everyone: February 2nd was the time when Bumrah travelled to Bangalore. He checked into NCA, the Center of Excellence, the next day, and he has been there since then. The second round of scans happened. A thorough assessment was done, and anywhere between today and tomorrow is when he'll start the physical activity with light gym work or even spot bowling. So this will be the first time that वो हाथ में गेंद पकड़कर activity start करेंगे after that Sydney test where he unfortunately injured himself and never returned to bowl in the second innings. So let's start with Chandresh. Chandresh, this is the story which we published last night, and no one understands these ICC rules better than you. So if you could just break down what the BCCI can do if they decide to not name a replacement for Jasprit Bumrah right now when the deadline ends, which is a
Uh,
possibility.
okay, first of all, thanks a lot, Sahil, for having me on the show. And I'm just wondering, why are you after Jasprit Bumrah? Well, the poor guy is trying to undergo a rehab. You are constantly going after him. Like, I don't know what is your agenda. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm just pulling his leg, but I'm just telling you. So, like, if the BCCI after the deadline passes doesn't change the squad, what will happen is that if they have to name a replacement for Jasprit, they'll have to go through the route of the technical committee. It's not a big deal that to go through the technical committee. It's just
No,
that the technical committee has to approve the replacement, if at all.
yeah,
And there's a so there's no big deal if BCCI doesn't name a replacement now, but I think it will be too much to carry one person who is not going to play for you. You
yeah,
don't want a situation where you have a squad of 15 and only 12 are in the reckoning, like it happened in Australia, where your
yeah.
squad of 12, 18, but only 13 or 14 were in the reckoning. Four, like Abhimanyu Ishwaran and Sarfaraz Khan, were
Surprise
never
Khan,
in the
yeah,
picture. So you don't
yeah,
want a situation like you don't want to carry a passenger. And
yeah,
I don't think they should be really making it such a big deal that they want Jasprit Bumrah at any cost. If he's not fit, he's not fit.
yeah.
Anyways, you claim to have the best talent pool in the world. You make use of the other players. I think that that's what they should do. But you Gaurav, you follow this more closely than I do. So I think that if they're not going to name a replacement, I think it's not advisable in my view.
No, Gigi, I'll quickly come to you now. You sense there is desperation creeping in now, and there could be that desperate wait which Chandresh is not advising towards. But do you reckon that they will buy that sweet little time before taking that Bumrah call for Champions Trophy? How do you reckon it
I
will play
think
out?
I think the way it's playing out from the starting, from what I hear, I don't think he's going to be there for the Champions Trophy. I don't think it was ever in the plans. I think this is all a sort of a smokescreen to create an impression that he could be around for the Champions Trophy. I
Yeah,
don't think वो कभी भी starting से जो मुझे कहा गया कि वो नहीं fit है बिल्कुल भी इस tournament के लिए, and to rush him for this tournament just doesn't make sense. These are just three off games, and this tournament is not really the World Cup as such. So
yeah,
I think it makes sense for them to take it easy and allow him to sort of relax, recuperate, and come back maybe fresher for the second half of the IPL. That is how I see it. I mean, I don't know क्यों इतना ये हो रहा है ये मतलब इसके ऊपर झमेला. Just announce. I mean, I think the way things are going, Harshit Rana is going to be his replacement.
yeah,
Because he has bowled now in the ODIs as well. उनके तीनों फॉर्मेट में डेब्यू हो गया है. कोच के भी फेवरेट हैं और ठीक ठाक bowling भी कर रहे हैं इस समय. So I think let's just get that part done, and BCI should just now focus on what's there in hand, as Chandresh said rightly, rather than just going on and on कि वो fit होंगे नहीं होंगे. Everybody knows it's a race against time. It's extremely. I mean कुछ bowling भी नहीं डाली उन्होंने
Yeah,
since Australia.
nothing.
So
Yes.
suddenly for him to come and pull off a be at his best, which you have to be in these one-off games, is going to be very
Yeah.
difficult. So and Harshit, I think, seems to be doing a decent job in his absence, to be very honest. So I think, I mean, I was thinking about Siraj as a replacement, but I think Harshit has been fairly impressive in the sense कि वो मार खाते हैं, लेकिन he has a knack of taking wickets also.
Yeah.
On these wickets, flat wickets. So I think instead of just kind of keeping everybody in uncertain this thing, I think it's
Yeah.
time that the board clears the air. But then I think they'll try and take advantage of the rules, and जितना खींच सकते हैं इस चीज को खींचेंगे वो लोग इस ड्रामा को.
So Sahil,
Drama.
Sahil,
Yeah. Yeah.
which team GG is supporting in the IPL this time?
Which team? Which team?
He
Bolo
said that
Gigi.
Arshid is bowling well, so you know which team he's supporting.
KKR. Okay. So, just a
Which means
gentle.
also that he has a small role in the upcoming movie King.
So, just a gentle reminder to everyone, Gaurav Gupta was the first one who called Jasprit Bumrah's absence from the Champions Trophy out, and now he has made another big claim that it could well be possible कि first half of the IPL भी miss कर दिया है. So let's see, let's wait and watch how the Jasprit Bumrah story unfolds. But Nitin bhai, no matter which way the story is heading towards, do you reckon that there's going to be that gap in India's bowling come the Champions Trophy if Jasprit Bumrah is not there? Because we have already seen two ODIs, not that big a sample size, but still enough to kind of get a sense of the way this bowling attack is shaping up in the absence of Jasprit Bumrah.
Yeah, and I think it was a blessing in disguise that India got a taste of what it is not to have Bumrah with you. And I think they have been on that route for a long time now. I mean, I don't think they have played Bumrah in every bilateral. They've
Yeah.
played him only when it has been absolutely necessary. That's why I was very surprised and shocked, in fact, that he was asked to play those two test matches against Bangladesh also. I think you could have beaten Bangladesh even without his services. Uh, Coming back to the Champions Trophy, I think if at all they may if they feel that the Champions Trophy is so high in their pecking order in terms of global trophies, and they for them an England series, if it is a lower hanging fruit, which I don't think should be the case, then I think what they might do is they'll go down that Australia route. What they did in the 2023 World Cup with Travis Head. I mean, I think throughout all the time, the medical
Yeah.
bulletin kept on suggesting to them that he's not going to be fit. He's not going to be fit. Don't pick him. Don't pick him because you won't get a replacement player because he was already injured. But what I think Andrew McDonald and the team management they decided was no, he's too valuable a player. Let's name him, and
Yeah.
if he plays later on in the tournament, let's see what happens. And then we all know what he did in Dharamshala and in Ahmedabad then. So I feel that they could go down the same route with Jasprit Bumrah. But I feel, knowing how valuable he is to Indian cricket and how rare a commodity he is, I feel he should not be risked.
Yeah, you should not be risked. And I think just adding to that Travis Head bit, Nitin bhai, I think Indian team too did follow the same route in the 2023 ODI World Cup. Even when Shubman Gill was down with dengue, they didn't rush or even
Yeah,
entertain the thought of a replacement. Even when Hardik was injured in the third week of October, they took 2 weeks to announce a replacement in
yeah.
Prasidh Krishna. So I think they will not rush. They will not rush. It makes sense because now if you name a replacement and if Bumrah miraculously kind of attains 120% match fitness, then you are left with nothing to do. So on those
Hmm.
lines, I think it's important to answer some more burning questions which have been burning since the start of the series. So first things first, I think that addition of Varun Chakravarti was a surprise to many in ODIs. Yes, he had a good Vijay Hazare Trophy for Tamil Nadu, but he's seen more as a four-over bowler in T20 format, where you keep the batters guessing, and when they look for runs, they end up losing their wickets. But now you could have a situation where they could be tempted to pick either Kuldeep or Varun Chakravarti or even both. So Chandresh, where do you see this picture heading towards? Do you see any inclination towards Varun Chakravarti because the captain said that he's very much in the scheme of things and they want to see how he shapes up in these three ODIs? So Kuldeep Yadav, Varun Chakravarti, is it even a question to be answered?
See, in the normal circumstances, Kuldeep Yadav will be your first choice wicket taking option in the absence of Jasprit Bumrah, because the other two spinners are largely restrictive spinners. So
Yeah,
even though Jadeja has picked up 6 wickets in the first two games of this series, but in terms of the fact that and Gaurav suggested something on those lines in other previous shows, that maybe they are still not confident about Kuldeep coming back to full fitness, even though he's bowled 31 overs in that game, in that Ranji Trophy game against Madhya
yeah,
Pradesh. So if he's not fully fit and he's not there as yet, then the selectors and the team management have to start looking for that wicket taking spinner in the middle overs. Now, the only viable option is Varun Chakravarti, because I don't think they want to go to Ravi Bishnoi
yeah.
or they want to go back to Yuzvendra Chahal, who's conveniently been forgotten. I think in that sense, Varun Chakravarti becomes a viable replacement. Or yeah, I think it will be a perfect choice if Varun gets in. Though I have my doubts about Varun
Yeah.
in the slightly longer format. I think that we shouldn't try and tinker our T20 players and bring them into the one day format. But I think that he did quite okay for himself in that debut game yesterday.
Yeah, I think 5 overs, yes, but जैसी sample size बड़ा छठे ओवर में मार लगना चालू हो गया था. Like if you could just break down his spell into a spell of two small halves, you would see that first 4 5 overs where the batters were kind of iffy and guessing, वो तब तक फंसा रहा था, but उसके
Hmm.
बाद relatively easy हो गया था run making. And I think Kevin Peterson somewhere mentioned this point about Sunil Narayan too, right? That
Yeah.
4 overs, अब सुनील नारायण अभी डीडी होते तो उसको बॉलर ही कंसिडर नहीं करते, बट आज वो नहीं है, तो मैं सुनील नारायण को मिस्ट्री स्पिनर कह सकता हूँ. तो सुनील नारायण 4 ओवर्स वाज अ डिफरेंट बॉलर, बट जब वो 10 ओवर और लॉन्गर फॉर्मेट में उसका इफेक्ट भी उतना नहीं रहता, बिकॉज यू कैन प्लेस दोज वंस एंड टूज. नाउ कमिंग टू जीजी ऑन दिस, जीजी वॉशिंगटन सुंदर के साथ एक ऑब्सेशन बहुत चालू है यार. मतलब वो जब उनको ऐड किया गया टेस्ट स्क्वाड के अंदर अश्विन के होते हुए, फिर अश्विन के आगे खिला दिया गया ऑस्ट्रेलिया के अंदर, अभी भी वो स्क्वाड के अंदर है, पहले दो टेस्ट मैचेस, पहले दो ओडीआईस में नहीं खिलाए गए, एंड नाउ यू हैव अ सिचुएशन वेयर यू हैव थ्री स्पिनर्स एंड यू probably will carry two out of them to the Champions Trophy, or just carry whatever you have named. So where do you see this, Kuldeep, Varun? I'll just add Washington to make this a more interesting discussion. How many spinners do you think will be actually going? Because now we have five. फोर भी हम कह रहे थे बहुत ज्यादा है, अब तो हमने पांच कर दिए हैं.
नहीं, चौथा डेफिनेटली कुलदीप और वरुण में से एक होगा. एंड आई थिंक वरुण ही होंगे, मुझे लग रहा है, बिकॉज प्योरली बिकॉज इज इन फॉर्म. आई मीन what these people have been telling me is that somebody who in this form cannot be ignored in T20s. Picked up I think around 14 wickets in the
Yeah,
T20 series. Looked like he'll pick a wicket of every ball in that series. And he did well in the Vijay Hazare also. On previous shows here, I've been advocating for him continuously कि उनको chance मिलना चाहिए one-days में, because somebody
yeah,
bowling like that with posing so many questions to the batters, and somebody who as a spinner his game has evolved and he's become more experienced, mature, knows when to release which ball, which areas to pitch the ball in. I think he's in fabulous form right now. So it was a great decision. I was very happy. I congratulated the people in the BCCI that अच्छा decision लिया तुम लोगों ने, ये अच्छा call है. But and especially if Kuldeep's this thing is a bit, he has a niggle or something, or he's not there as yet. But Washi का I think advantage है कि वो ऑफ स्पिनर है. ऑफ स्पिनर कोई भी नहीं है स्क्वाड में. ये इसी
yeah,
बेसिस पे 23 वर्ल्ड कप में अश्विन को टीम में डाला गया था. More
yeah,
than the injury to Akshay, the fact that we did not have an off spinner. And I think that is where Washi scores, that he's an off spinner and he's an all rounder. So that works for him. He's performed well in the past. I mean, वो अल्टीमेटली टीम में आए तो आते उन्होंने पुणे टेस्ट मैच में भी saw what he did, picked up around 13 wickets, did very well in the Mumbai test also. I did very well in the Perth test, जहां पर स्पिनर को ज्यादा कुछ नहीं था करने के लिए, but he was pretty okay both with bat and ball. I think उसके
yeah,
बाद में थोड़ा सा, and then I think there was a good partnership that he shared with Nitish Kumar Reddy in one of the test matches. I mean ये थोड़ा सा T20 उनके लिए डल गए. But I think he should be. The team management feels that he should be around in the mix. उनको होना चाहिए a cricketer like him who can offer something or the other. Maybe not in the 11, at least in the squad, so that off spinners option should be there if the Samne wala team has too many left-handers. Obviously, you got to champion left-arm spinning all-rounders in Akshay and Jadeja. with the I think थोड़ा सा problem here is with Kuldeep only, because rest of
Yeah,
the lineup I see pretty much the squad is pretty much okay. They are definitely banking on spinners. देखिए ये तो बहुत clear है कि India are banking in Bumrah's absence on their spinners. I mean Arshdeep को भी बहुत ही sporadically खिलाया जा रहा है. I think keeping it in mind that he might have to play all the 3-5 games, 4-5 games जो
yeah,
भी होंगे वहां पर.
yeah.
सो आई थिंक स्पिनर्स पे ही फोकस है. तो उस हिसाब से मुझे लगता है कि वॉशिंगटन को ही मिक्स में रखा जा रहा है कि एक ऑफ स्पिनर होना चाहिए इन द मिक्स.
No, on that, Nitin, you picked up that early cue on Siraj. I think the Bangladesh test was where you mentioned the fact that he shortened his run up, was lacking
Yeah.
rhythm. We have seen one outing of Kuldeep in ODIs. What do you make of his rhythm? Because he's again one bowler who relies heavily on rhythm, and when on song, the ball comes at a better pace from his hand. The revs are imparted onto the ball, and we did briefly touch in one of the shows of the fact that Dubai was one venue where India in the past have been obsessed with bowlers who impart more revs and pace on the ball. So is this where Varun could actually enjoy edge over Kuldeep? What's your assessment of Kuldeep and
I
Varun?
I think purely on skill. I think excuse me. Purely on skill, I feel Kuldeep over Varun would be the more sensible idea. Uh, Purely because he's a more attacking bowler. There's a bit more of although Varun is called a mystery bowler, but that is in T20 cricket. In a 4 over spell, he becomes mysterious. In a 10 over spell, I don't think there is any mystery. Same thing happened. Same thing we saw with Ajanta Mendes. Initially, when batters had, तभी तो खैर T20 cricket उतनी थी नहीं. But फिर भी, as soon as he started playing more test matches, he started getting sorted out, and batters eventually found him easy to hit even in T20 cricket and in one day cricket. So I feel the same could happen with Varun. What I liked about his spell yesterday was he attempted to bowl a little differently compared to what he was bowling in T20 cricket. I think he was bowling flatter and faster. I think yesterday, if you saw with the wicket of Phil Salt, he kind of he bowled the leggy and he flighted it a bit outside the off stump, tempted him to play across the line, and eventually got him out. So maybe he is evolving. He's played a lot of 50 over cricket in the Vijay Hazare Trophy, but I feel purely in terms of skill, I think Kuldeep offers you far more variety, and he threatens both the
Yeah.
edges of the batter. So I think that is where I would like to go if I am the captain.
Yeah, and we would just hope that there are no more knee jerk selections as they have been in the past. One out performance here and there, players have been drafted into the 11. Case in point, Devdutt Patikal making that playing 11 spot ahead of Abhimanyu Iswaran. All those calls have been taken in the past. Sandesh, there was a question for you, a very selfless question for you. We decided not to touch Rohit today because Rohit scored the runs. We are happy for him. We liked the way he batted, but we thought there are bigger and better matters which need some attention because रोहित तो हमें पता था ना अभी तो कहीं जाने नहीं वाले हैं तो इसीलिए आज हमने रोहित को थोड़ा साइड रख दिया. चलो अब एक सेल्फलेस क्वेश्चन आ ही गया फटाफट आपको ओपिनियन लेते हैं फिर अगले बर्निंग क्वेश्चन की तरफ चलते हैं.
नहीं मेरे हिसाब से बहुत बढ़िया नॉक था एंड आई थिंक दैट व्हाइल ही वाज प्लेइंग दैट नॉक आई वाज थिंकिंग ओह his ticket to England has been booked because now this knock will be used as a as an argument for him to be carried forward into the Test series as well in England, like it always happens in Indian cricket. So that's going to happen. The moment he raised his bat, I was just reminded of our Beyond the Boundary panel and the guys who raised questions about Rohit Sharma. He sort of answered. एक करारा जवाब उन सबको मिला सबको मिला है तो वो पुराने पिक्चर का डायलॉग है नितिन को बहुत अच्छा पता होगा कि वो समाज के ठेकेदारों को उसने जवाब दे दिया तो तो आई थिंक दैट तो वो तो हो गया बट दिस थिंग अबाउट द स्पिनर्स थिंग मैं एक बात कहना चाह रहा था फॉर द लास्ट फ्यू आई डिड कमेंट्री ऑन दिस ILT20 and I found that the Dubai pitch, even though it was like the most turn is on the Dubai pitch, the spinners were being taken for runs, though it's a T20 format. I was just noticing that, and I was wondering aloud last night itself that the fast bowlers are getting more help or more purchase out of the pitch in Dubai than spinners. So I was just wondering if it was a tactical tactical mistake by India to bank so much on spinners and not the quicker ones. It shows a lack of faith in the other bowlers apart from Shami and Bumrah, in my view.
No, but Chandresh, like, that could also boil down to the fact that those T20 games start during the time when the evenings start to get cooler, and you wouldn't expect the pitch to bake that much under the sun. That could be one of the reasons, right? कि मतलब थोड़ा ठंडक आ जाता है, और डेजर्ट एरिया के अंदर तो वैसे भी टेम्परेचर एक्सट्रीम हो जाता है सुबह दोपहर शाम, और आप तो खैर दुबई से नाता मेरे से क्लोज रखते हो,
तो मतलब वही है कि उन्होंने सोचा है तो कभी सोच समझ के ही किया होगा, वो बोल सकते हैं।
ठीक है, तो चलो अब अगले सोच विचार के ऊपर आते हैं। आई थिंक दिस इज वन वन क्वेश्चन वेयर आई नीड ऑल ऑफ योर्स आंसर्स ऑन, एंड दैट हैज बीन बॉदरिंग मी, व्हाई दे आर नॉट प्लेइंग अर्शदीप। अभी जीजी भाई ने बोला कि मे बी उसको बचा के रख रहे हैं कि 5 मैच, जीजी भाई ने तो इंडिया को फाइनल खिला दिया है कि 5 मैच उन्होंने इकट्ठे गिन लिए सेमीफाइनल फाइनल मिला के। नाउ अर्शदीप
मैं
हैजंट
बोला
प्लेड।
3 या 5, I
अच्छा,
said
3
three,
या
three,
5।
4 or 5.
मैं अपना कुंडली भेज रहा हूँ आपको, जी मैं आपको अपना कुंडली भेज रहा हूँ।
So Arshdeep Singh or Harshit Rana, clearly both of them can't play in the 11. You would want Mohammad Shami to be there because he gives you a lot of penetration with the new ball in the power play over, और दो इक्का दुक्का ओवर बीच में दे सकते हैं, बट क्लियरली वो जड़ में डेथ पे बॉल नहीं डाल सकते। मोहम्मद शामी, ये हमें सेकंड ओडीआई में भी देखने को मिला, ही बिकम्स वे टू प्रेडिक्टेबल व्हेन इट कम्स टू दोस फाइनल 10 overs. So would you want someone like Arshdeep or a Harshit Rana in the mix? I'll start with Gigi, go to Nitin Bhai, and then come back to Chandresh.
You mentioned Arshdeep Singh for the match day after,
No, no, I'm just overall मैं आपका
or in
opinion
the
जानना
Indian
चाहता हूँ।
team's mix. I mean, generally in the
Yeah,
11.
yeah. So मैं मतलब यही पूछना चाहता हूँ कि अगर हर्षित और अर्शदीप में आपको एक ऑप्शन प्रेजेंट होता है, तो who could be better suited for a 50 over game, considering कि हमें एक डेथ बॉलर का अर्जेंट बेसिस पे नीड है अगर बुमराह फिट नहीं होते।
Arshdeep, obviously, Arshdeep, without doubt. I mean, Harshit Rana is still pretty much untested. He's had his successes, he's had his failures, so he'll take time to grow. There's still a lot of question marks around him. He's obviously been rushed. So right now, I think, I mean, Arshdeep is the one. He's delivered in ODIs also in the past few years for India. Done pretty well. Seems to be really coming along well. So 100% Arshdeep it would be. My only thing is that Shami still doesn't seem to be at his back to his best. In international cricket, domestic cricket में तो काफी कुछ अच्छा उन्होंने किया, but international cricket में मुझे अभी भी वो पूरे convincing नहीं लगे. So pace department definitely बहुत weak लग रहा है without Bumrah, and I hope Arshdeep is on the ball. Harshit obviously will, as I said, he's too raw right now. So to even judge him too harshly would be a bit this thing to sort of expect huge things out of him. But overall, fast bowling department is slightly. I mean, again, Hardik has been bowling very well. But then with Hardik, I always worry about his fitness. That is one aspect. If he keeps bowling well, and will he be able to bowl 10 overs in every game? That is another big question. 7-8 ओवर भी अगर वो डाल देते हैं तो डेफिनेटली बहुत बड़ी और बहुत अच्छी बात होगी इंडियन क्रिकेट के लिए. But yeah, by and large, the fast bowling department is the slight worry going into the tournament, and especially considering that, as Chandesh said, that Dubai में fast bowlers को help होती है, so I think it's a bit of a gray area.
Okay, Nitin bhai, Arshdeep, Harshit Rana, do you think we really need to find that answers to the combination who would bowl those final 10 overs? That's something which would need attention if Bumrah isn't there.
Yeah, Arshdeep, any day over Harshit Rana. And I'll see how Shami shapes up in Ahmedabad day after tomorrow. And depending on, because there'll be some days where I think the wickets obviously are going to get rotated over the 3 games. So there'll be, and all 3 wickets I don't think would be similar. So on the days where the wicket might look like it has a little bit more spice, on those days or in those games I would play Shami. Otherwise I would rotate him and Harshit Rana. But Arshdeep has to play all the games, and I do not like this combination of 2 seamers and Hardik. I like the combination of 3 seamers and Hardik more. But then Indian team is so spin heavy that
Yeah.
that seems like an unlikely combination that I'm talking about. So they'll have to be forced to maybe they may forced to be they may forced to use they may be forced to use Hardik uh, open the bowling, because I think he's used the new ball pretty well.
Yeah.
Maybe for the first 3 4 overs, and then use Shami first change like they used him in the World Cup, where I think he was more effective. I think
Yeah.
he's more comfortable bowling with the semi new ball rather than the brand new ball. We saw that in the final as well in Ahmedabad, where he was very uncomfortable and sprayed the ball all over. So I feel that, and I don't know what's the deal with Siraj. I mean, is he going to, if in case Bumrah is ruled out, are they going to? I mean, you guys might know better. Are they going to pick him? Siraj, I'm talking about.
No, I don't. They've categorically mentioned. अब तो उसको ridicule कर दिया ना उसके उसकी death bowling को and
Yeah, yeah,
effectiveness. The way I think that was you only mentioned Nitin bhai that it was
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah,
time we ever saw an Indian captain being so vocal
yeah,
and
yeah,
criticizing a particular skill set. And since then
yeah,
they have been backing Harshit Rana for doing what he has been doing. And
yeah,
Ajit
yeah,
clearly mentioned at the press conference, which GGY did attend at the Wankhede, that Harshit Rana will be there for the first two ODIs. Then Bumrah's name was mysteriously omitted from the England ODI squad sheet. So Harshit Rana continues to be there. I think if they wanted Siraj, Ahmedabad could have been the opportunity to probably have him into the setup. But I don't think that is happening. If GGY has anything to add on that, we'll take a quick comment from him before I move to Chandresh.
नहीं, आई थिंक एज ऑफ नाउ सिराज, वही मुझे भी वही दिमाग में आया. आई वाज एक्चुअली पिचिंग फॉर सिराज फॉर एज बुमराज रिप्लेसमेंट बिफोर आई गॉट रिमाइंडेड ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट हाँ यार, ये रोहित वाज अ बिट ओवर क्रिटिकल ऑफ हिम, व्हिच वाज अ
Yeah.
बिट सरप्राइजिंग. So and the way Harshit has been blooded, and he's been given a few chances, been given a few games. So I think, और जिस तरह का कोच का कॉन्फिडेंस है उनके ऊपर, आई सी हर्षित गोइंग, मे बी द एक्स्ट्रा बैटिंग एबिलिटी ऑल्सो हेल्प्स. अब सो कॉल्ड बैटिंग एबिलिटी अभी तक तो दिखी नहीं है, बट ऐसा सुना है कि बैटिंग भी करते हैं वो. तो शायद वही
अभी
रीजन है
अभी
कि
मैं अभी मैं जीजी भाई आपको नाम नहीं बताऊंगा, बट एक एक सिलेक्टर ने, चलो इतना बता देता हूँ आपको, आप गैस लगा लेना. एक सिलेक्टर ने, बहुत नोन सिलेक्टर, बहुत चर्चा में रहते हैं सिलेक्टर, उन्होंने बोल दिया था कि हर्षित राणा इज द नेक्स्ट हार्दिक पांडे इन द मेकिंग आफ्टर ही सॉ हिम स्कोर दैट 100 अगेंस्ट आई थिंक नॉर्थ ईस्ट जोन, वो दिलीप ट्रॉफी जो हर्षित राणा डेब्यू किया था. तो बहुत बड़ी
अरे
बड़ी
बाबू,
बातें
वो
कही गई है हर्षित राणा
कपिल देव
के
तो नहीं
बारे
बना
में.
दिया ना? कपिल देव
अभी
तो नहीं
नहीं,
बना दिया ना?
अभी नहीं,
हाँ,
अभी नहीं.
फिर ठीक है,
ओके.
तब तक ठीक है.
तो चंद्रेश भाई, अब दो लोग ने बोला, मैं भी ये मानता हूँ कि अर्शदीप खेलना चाहिए, सबको पता है अर्शदीप खेलना चाहिए, पर अर्शदीप खेल क्यों नहीं रहा? क्या है? वाई आर दे नॉट प्लेइंग हिम?
I think they're just holding him back. He played the T20 series. They're just holding him
या
back, and I think there's nothing wrong in that. I think वो Champions Trophy में जाके खेलेंगे, पहला मुकाबला मुझे लगता है खेलेंगे.
fair.
And it's fair because you saw South Africa playing a triangular series match against New Zealand today. Like half the 11 is not going to be featuring in the Champions Trophy. The
Yeah.
guys came only to play that first game because the others were involved were playing the SA20. So I think
Yeah.
that's fine. I don't see any problem at all.
Yeah.
I think Arshdeep has really risen in stature. The captain feels confident enough for him to be in the setup. The fact that he specifically was asked about Siraj and he didn't pick him, and he listed out the reasons, and the same doesn't stick with Arshdeep. So the captain feels confident, the coach feels confident, so he's there in the setup. So I think that ultimately मियाँ बीवी राजी तो क्या करेगा काजी, वही बात है with Arshdeep also. So if
Yeah.
the coach and captain want him and the selectors want him, then he's very much in the mix.
Okay. Now this brings us to the last segment, and I think the most crucial piece of this playing 11 puzzle, which could decide a lot of things going here and there. Why I say that? Because you have promoted Akshar Patel to number 5 in both the games, because there's that desperation to have that left-hander in the mix to break the monotony of your top order being so dominant by the right-handers. Not so dominant, but only featuring the right-handers. Now you have Akshar at 5, you drop KL Rahul to 6, and we all saw what he has done in the first two games. People have been overcritical of his wicket-keeping abilities. Yes, he has looked very rusty, but I'll still give him a benefit of doubt there, because I think the entire World Cup campaign he looked very good, because he kept in the Asia Cup, and before that India had a very long camp in Bangalore where he was working on his wicket keeping for a very long time, and now he's coming with the big gloves on after playing as a specialist batter for a considerably longer period. So, but Rishabh Pant is on the sidelines. He's a left-hander. what is stopping the management from trying him in one of these games? Or do you think KL Rahul has that edge because of what he did in the 2023 ODI World Cup, and they still feel that if there is a 10 for 3 situation again, then KL Rahul is the guy who will bail you out of trouble more often than not? I'll start with Nitin Bhai, go to Gigi, and then with Chandesh.
I think the coach himself said in one of his PCs, I don't know which one, that very few teams have players who are as versatile as KL Rahul. What I think happens when they have KL Rahul is they can then play another spin bowling all rounder. Otherwise, if Rahul and Pant both play, then one of either Akshar or Jadeja misses out. So
Yeah.
I think the team management want the comfort of both and like we saw in both the one dayers so far. I think by having Akshar and Jadeja, I think the team management has got the best of both worlds. They've got Jadeja's bowling and they've got Akshar's batting. So and I think Jadeja, he hasn't really been mentioned much, but I think he's bowled beautifully in both the games. I mean, he was so off color in Australia, and he underpitched so much. But I think in here in both the games, it just shows that if the conditions help him even a little bit, what a deadly bowler he can be.
Yeah.
And Akshar, obviously, he's uh, batting has just gone to another level, especially his striking ability. So if Rahul and Pant both play, then you miss out on one of the two. So I don't think the team management would want to do that. So I think they'll go with Rahul at the moment, unless something happens to one of the batters.
Okay. Okay, Gigi bhai, your thoughts? Rishabh Pant, KL Rahul, Pant's keeping, KL Rahul's keeping, left-hander, right-hander. They have their pros and cons. Who do you see being the most ideal suited for that middle order, and considering the kind of pitches we can expect in Dubai?
आई थिंक वही लेफ्ट राइट वाला फंडा चल रहा है, इसीलिए अक्षर 5 पे आके और केएल 6 पे आ रहे हैं. बट मुझे लगता है कि अगर ऐसे ही करना है तो फिर ऋषभ पंत को खिला दो यार नंबर 6 पे. तो ऋषभ पंत इज अ बेटर. अगर इतना ही नीचे लाना है केएल राहुल को, ही इज यूजलेस देयर. कुछ कर नहीं रहे हैं, वो आ रहे हैं खाली ब्लॉक कर रहे हैं थोड़ा सा, ये वो, ही इज कंफ्यूज. अटैक करना है, डिफेंड करना है, क्या करना है, अनलेस यू आर कीपिंग हिम बैक फॉर अ कोलैप्स. कि 4 डाउन हो गया बहुत जल्दी और केएल राहुल है हमारे पास में जो 60 रन बनाएंगे 200 बॉलों में, तो उसके अलावा कोई मतलब नहीं है उनके वहां होने का मेरे ख्याल से. तो बेटर सेंस है, जैसे वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल में उन्होंने इनिंग्स खेली थी, जो हमारे को एक टोटल दिया था, जो 30 ओवर में ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने ओवरकम कर लिया था. तो मुझे लगता है कि ऋषभ पंत बेटर है नंबर 6 पे अगर आपको खिलाना है, बिकॉज यू विल टेक फुल एडवांटेज ऑफ द लास्ट 10 ओवर्स. ही विल गो बैंग बैंग. यू कैन गिव हिम द लाइसेंस टू डू दैट, and I think it will be a better option. You sort of you can continue with that whole attacking approach that you perhaps maintain, sort of start with in your innings, rather than maybe. But again, if you want to sort of safeguard against a collapse and have a stable batter down the order, then maybe that is this thing. But I think I have a feeling that Rishabh will be a better, purely because he gets on with it a bit faster. So it would
Okay.
be, if at all you have to give it, if you have to play KL Rahul, play him at 4 or 5 max.
Okay, Chandresh, your thoughts? Rishabh Pant still not a proven commodity when it comes to ODIs. Hasn't had that much success in this format, and I'll say overall in white ball, he has been an underachiever. Having seen him since his younger days, he can be a very brutal hitter of the cricket ball. We've seen that with the red ball, but white ball में returns उतना consistent नहीं रहा है. And then KL Rahul gives you that sort of insurance. I know it comes at the cost of a strike rate and the run rate, but do you think that they are preferring to have that insurance rather than have someone of those maverick abilities of Rishabh Pant?
I think it's going to be 5 years now since the time KL Rahul has sort of become like a alternative or like the front runner to be the ODI wicketkeeper for India. I remember Wankhede Stadium. Nitin and Gaurav will also remember when Rishabh suffered a concussion and KL Rahul replaced him as a keeper. After that, KL Rahul has been India's consistent wicketkeeper. Consistent has found a place as a wicketkeeper in the one-day format. It is only
Yeah.
because of Brisbane 2021 that Rishabh made a return to the ODI setup, and then he lost the place because of his accident, but also because of COVID, because we had two teams playing at the same time in two
Yeah.
different places. So I think that in that sense, KL Rahul, I was just looking at the batting lineup and I was just like, it's an impregnable batting lineup if you look at it very closely, because uh, I have very strong opinions about Gill, Shreyas Iyer, and KL Rahul being the ideal one-day players for India. Uh, I wouldn't keep them anywhere close to a T20 international for India. I think this lineup is absolutely very solid. Uh, and I think at some level, Gigi is right about that strike power. But I think that Akshar Patel can do the job. Hardik Pandya can do the job. Shreyas Iyer, if required, can hit the long ones. So I think overall, if you look at this batting lineup, it's like an impregnable batting lineup, and it can match up with some of India's best one-day lineups batting wise. Uh,
Okay.
I think that I'm not really missing a Rishabh Pant here. You have Akshar to break the jab. Uh, India's great one-day teams of the 80s didn't have a left-hander, so I don't know what is this obsession with this left, right, left, right. We are not in the armed forces that you need to do that. So I think that this lineup works for me. Frankly,
Yeah.
this lineup works for me, and it all sort of tells you that you have a solid batting lineup in the one days, you have a scary batting lineup in the T20 internationals, and you don't know where you stand in the test matches. So
Okay.
that in a nutshell is India's batting in all three formats for me.
Now, last, I think now that we have discussed Rohit, one last discussion point very quickly, 30 seconds each to everyone before we wrap up today's show. Virat Kohli outside off again to a different kind of bowler. The color of the ball has changed, but वो क्या चल रहा है भाई? विराट कोहली के रन आ जाएंगे तो क्या टेंशन
Nitin
खत्म
Gigi
हो जाएगा?
Sahil is trying to get us into trouble.
No, no, I'm just asking because we haven't discussed Virat today, so I thought लोग ये ना कहें कि यार ये तो रो आर्मी है, ये तो वो है, ये है, तो चलो विराट का भी जाते जाते बात कर लेते हैं जब 15-16 खिलाड़ी का चर्चा कर ही लिया है आज. So quickly, 30 seconds each, Nitin bhai, Gigi and Chandresh before we wrap today's episode. Virat Kohli, टेंशन है नहीं है?
नहीं टेंशन नहीं है. I just hope that next time when Adil Rashid bowls that same ball to him, he sees what Rohit Sharma did
Yeah.
on 94. Say similar ball, he hit him. He just took one step and he hit him over the top. And I think Kohli's major problems against Rashid have been because he doesn't use his feet.
Yeah. जीजी भाई, क्या लग रहा है? रोक को
यार
साथ
मौके
में रोक पाएंगे?
मौके मौके इतने मिलेंगे तो कभी ना कभी तो कर ही लेंगे यार। रोहित ने भी 100 मार दिया है, इनको भी मौका मिलेगा तो कर ही लेंगे। 5 साल तो शास्त्री ने बोला ही है, 5 साल रहेंगे टीम में, 5 साल का गारंटी दिया है पूरा, तो फिर तो कर लेंगे। 5वां 6ठा 8वां मैच आएगा तब कर ही लेंगे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। वी आर विद हिम, किंग
फिर तो
कोहली।
लग रहा है चंद्रेश भाई की अगली डॉक्यूमेंट्री विराट कोहली भी आने वाली है। क्या लग रहा है भाई साहब आपको?
नहीं,
विराट कोहली
जीजी
5 साल?
जीजी ने मैं फैक्ट चेक कर दूं जीजी को, शास्त्री ने 5 साल नहीं 4 कहा था। 1 साल
हाँ
अपनी
हाँ
तरफ
कोई
से
बात
ऐड कर
नहीं,
रहे हैं, और
1 साल मैं
शास्त्री
ऐड कर रहा हूँ, कोई बात नहीं।
शास्त्री
1 साल मैं ऐड कर रहा हूँ।
वही मैं कमेंट्स देख रहा था, सब लोग कह रहे हैं कि हम लोग रोहित के खिलाफ है और विराट के फेवर में है। मुझे लग रहा है यार, मतलब आएगा जरूर, रन तो आएगा, एंड he just needs to get into that groove once again, मतलब, and as far as possible he needs to spend as little time talking to KP and AB de Villiers, because they both left the game abruptly. वो उन पर उनका इन्फ्लुएंस ना रब ऑफ हो जाए हमारे किंग कोहली पे, बिकॉज वो दोनों भी ऐसे ही चले गए थे, ये भी मतलब उसी राह पे ना चले जाए, तो मतलब उनको जितना हो सके दूर रखना चाहिए इन दोनों से मेरे हिसाब से, तब सब ठीक हो जाएगा।
ठीक है, देखते हैं कब सब ठीक हो जाएगा। February 12th राइट नाउ अहमदाबाद, बट ऑल आईज विल बी ऑन द डेडलाइन। स्टॉप वॉच लगा लीजिए। February 11th midnight Dubai time is when the deadline to submit all squads, and that is not the end of the story for India's Champions Trophy squad. As we started the show on the note, we'll again remind you that India can still make changes to the squad by approaching the technical committee of the T20 of the ICC Champions Trophy. संदेश भाई ने एक्सप्लेन करा क्या प्रोसेस रहता है, क्या होता है, क्या हो सकता है, तो देखते हैं क्या होगा। जसप्रीत बुमराह और नो जसप्रीत बुमराह, बट आई थिंक उससे बड़े मैटर्स हमने डिस्कस करे। व्हाई अर्शदीप सिंह इज अहेड, व्हाई केएल राहुल डिजर्व्स। हाँ
सॉरी मैं कह रहा हूँ कि अगर वो मना कर दे आईसीसी टेक्निकल कमेटी, वो आईसीसी का एक डिजिटल शो आता है, उसकी एक होस्ट है जो कह सकते हैं कि आई विल नॉट होस्ट एनीमोर, जब तक अप्रूवल नहीं
On that note, लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब का हमारा झंडा आ गया था, प्लीज दबा दीजिए, बेल आइकन को क्लिक कर दीजिए, फॉलो अस अक्रॉस आवर सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स ऑन X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We'll keep bringing you all the updates from the India England series and then the Champions Trophy which follows. So keep watching and thank you for joining in, gentlemen. Have a very good day.
Thank you.